Barakatuh. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And I have shared my PowerPoint. I assume that you are seeing the correct presentation, and I've started also the recording. So for those who are not able to join, they will be able to access a copy of the lesson. We are now going to start the second portion of writing TOEFL IBT. So if you remember, I mentioned at the very beginning introduction that there's two styles of writing that receiving a call. I apologize for that. We have the two style of writing is one is academic writing and one is integrated writing essays. So I believe that we have practiced academic quite. I think we have done enough, but if there is need for it, I'll try to do more of that too. Then after that, I start preparing you for integrated essay, and the best way to do this is to do paraphrasing. So I've been practicing paraphrasing, and while we're practicing paraphrasing, I've also started giving you reading articles and asking you to practice writing essay on reading articles, which is really when we are writing essay, when we are speaking, when we are talking, when we are listening, paraphrasing is very important when we are trying to do in academic work and research work, which is that's what you guys are leading. So once again, the aim of tonight is that we will practice one more time short paragraph for paraphrasing. Followed by that, I will do a sample essay on reading articles, and then I will introduce you briefly to integrated essay with simple instruction and leave you with a homework. So, paraphrasing, if I give you a paragraph, so in this one, the text mentions that in American society, introverts are outnumbered about 3-1. As a result, they must develop extra copying skills early in life because there will be an inordinate amount of pressure on them to shape up, to act like the rest of the world. The introvert is pressured daily, almost from the moment of awakening, to respond and conform to the outer world. Classroom teachers unwittingly pressure intro-convert students by announcing that 1/3 of your grade will be based on classroom participation. From Otto Kroger and Janet M. Towson taught the 16 personal type that determines how we live, love, work at New York with the Dell publication 1989. Notice I started paraphrasing with you guys with just general paragraph, and you did very well. And then I've gone in, and now I'm giving you a text with reference, whether it's coming from a book, whether it's coming from a website, whether it's coming out of a publication of magazine, volume, etc. So I end up giving you something that's also with a reference. I really want you to take note of that when In writing, when we are given a reference, we must make use of that reference, and that is where it's going to help you with getting higher score. So I've given you two possible, one very simple and one which is I prefer. The first response: there are many more extroverts than introverts in America. This puts a lot of pressure on introverts to fit in and be like everybody else. Even in school, teachers add to this pressure by making the class participation part of the student's grade. Consequently, introverts have to acquire additional skills to deal with this pressure. And I think most of us relate to this. Nice, simple, and it conveys the message. Uh, but let's look at the next one. In America, there are more extroverted people than introverted people, about 3 times as many. This means that introverted individuals have to learn extra ways to handle things when they are young because there's lots of pressure on them to act like everyone else. Every day, starting from the moment that they wake up, introverts feel pushed to fit in and be like other people around them. Even in classroom, teachers might unknowingly put pressure on introvert students by saying things like, part of your grades depends on how much you participate in class. This information is taken from the book Type Talk, the 16 personality type that determines how we live, love, and work by Otto Krieger and Janet M. Tressen, published in 1989 by Dill Publishing. You must be sick of giving you a simple paraphrase, but I think I'm going to take a word at the end and then stop it. I think we've done enough of paraphrasing. Now, I'm giving you a reading article, and then I'll give essays. So how about I make it a little bit different? How about I ask you guys to take part in reading? Which means I'm going to come and let me just look. So there's one slide, two slides, and then the essay. So 2 slides is the actual articles, and then it's the examples of the essay. So I'm going to give and ask if anybody wants to turn the mic on and read the slide. If you don't want to, okay, well done. Malala, go ahead, turn your mic on and read the first slide for me, please.
Sure. Reading article. The first European to cross Australia. Robert Brooke was born in Ireland, and he should have stayed there. He was not destined to be an explorer because he knew no survival skills. However, after he read about the adventures of other explorers, he decided he wanted to be one too. He wanted to be the first European to cross the continent of Australia. He succeeded, but paid for it with his life. Robert made his Robert made his decision when he was 40 years old. In 1860, he and his team of 19 men set off from the port of Melbourne, Australia, and headed north. Their goal was the Gulf of Carpentaria, 1,400 miles away. The group quickly ran into trouble because Bragg had not done any research about Australia. The men did not have the proper clothing, footwear, or equipment for the environmental challenges they faced. Half of the year there was no rain, and the continent's interior was like a desert, with with wildfires and daytime temperatures soaring to 113 Fahrenheit. Then Fahrenheit. Then the weather changed and there was a deluge, I don't know this word, for 6 months that caused flash floods and deadly quicksand. Quicksand.
Thank you. Well, let me get back into the slide. And you did well. The word that you did not know, um, daily, after the daily word that you could not say it?
Yes.
Okay. Deloge. So well done. I want somebody else to put their hands up and they're going to read the slide number 2, which is still the continuation of this. So, Mr. Farid, your hand is up. Go on, please.
Okay, in the name of Allah, Robert split up the team, leaving groups of men in several camps. Just he and just he and three companions went beyond Cooper's Creek camp. Carolus Gray, John King, and William Wells accompanied him. In February 1861, the wavy men saw the North Coast. They had achieved their goals. Exhausted and running low on supplies, they turned around. Soon they ran out of food and had to eat their horses. From then on, they had to walk. Their progress was slow and painful since their, boots were in terrible shape. Carolus died of uh, starvation. At last, the troy of survivors staggered into Cooper's Creek camp and collapsed. The rest of their team had left just hours before, but the men were too weak to follow.
I lost your voice. I don't know if others can have got your voice.
Sorry, dear teacher.
Continue, please. The rest of the team.
The rest of their team had left just hours before, but the men were too weak to follow. Robert and William died. When native Australians came upon the camp, they found John barely alive and nursed him back to health. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I think from now on, I'm going to encourage at least 1 or 2 students to read the reading articles. It will help you with pronunciation. And if you make mistakes, that's perfectly fine. I make mistakes myself. We are all human beings, and English is not our first language. I don't claim to be perfect, and I don't think that you should be shy. But be prepared to start taking part in reading at least the reading articles. So I'm going to continue now. But what I'm doing is, so that was the reading article. And what I've done is I have prepared 2 essays for you guys. And I'll present the essay myself. So this is sample 1. Robert Burke expedition across Australia remains one of the most remarkable yet tragic events in the history of exploration. Driven by ambition and curiosity, Burke aimed to become the first European to cross the vast and largely unknown Australian continent. Although his courage was undeniable, his journey served as a somber lesson in the consequence of poor planning and lack of survival knowledge. In 1860, Burke, accompanied by a team of 19 men, departed from Melbourne with the goal of reaching the Gulf of Carpentaria, nearly 1,400 miles. Initially, the expedition symbolized the spirit of discovery and human determination. However, as the group ventured deeper into the harsh Australian interior, the lack of preparation becomes evident. Supplies dwindled, food ran out, and extreme heat tested their endurance. The men were eventually forced to eat their horses and wear out their equipment, making progress nearly impossible. And it continues. As starvation and exhaustion set in, members of the expedition began to die. When the remaining men reached Copper's Creek, Burke and his companion William were too weak to survive. Only one member, John King, was rescued by the indigenous Australian who cared for them until help arrived. Burke's tragic end highlights the fine line between ambition and recklessness. His expedition undercovers the importance of preparation, cultural awareness, and respect for the environment, while his determination remains admirable. His failure demonstrates that courage alone is never enough in the face of nature's challenges. So this one, with a score of 30 out of 30, remember, we only add an article, and the essay has to tell the story but should not go and rewrite exactly the same thing, which means we need, when we read, whether it's a scientific journal, whether it's a historical, whether it's a research, whatever it is, the aim of when somebody's asking us to read an article and write an essay is that we need to rewrite it, but in our own words, meaning that we need to use vocabularies, but we need to tell the story. So this was a nice essay. Why? Because it was well structured. So the very first paragraphs gives a good introduction, what to come up. Then it goes and it explains the details different way, and then it comes up with a conclusion, wraps up the story. What was the learning out of it? Remember, we are only conveying what we have in the material. It is not about my view or your view. We can only say what is in the reading article. So that's why it was a 30 out of the 30 score, full mark. Essay number 2 is 20 out of 30. Robert Burke was an explorer who wanted to cross Australia from south to north. He led a group of 19 men in 1860, leaving Melbourne for the Gulf of Carpentaria area. It was a long and dangerous journey of about 1,400 miles through the desert. Burke had courage, but was not ready for the difficulties of the trip. At first, the group was excited to explore unknown areas, but as they went further, they ran out of food and supplies. The hot weather and rough land made travel difficult. The men had to eat their horses to stay alive, their boots wore out, and they became weaker every day. Finally, only 3 men were left. Burke William and John was among them. When they reached Cooper's Creek, they were starving. William and Burke died there, while John was rescued by the native Australian. Burke's story shows how dangerous exploration can be when people are not well prepared. His expedition teaches that courage is not enough without careful planning, survivals. Although his dream failed, Burke still is remembered for his bravery and his lessons his journey left behind. So not bad, because it tells a story. The structure is good too, but it doesn't have the vocabularies. So at the beginning when we are doing it might be good, but I am now expecting you. We have done enough. We have done enough paraphrasing. You've practiced enough, at least for those of you who submit your essays. Those who don't submit, I don't know what to do. Maybe you have some other way that you're going to learn, which I don't know. I don't have any magic power, but I do pray that what I prepare and is walking you through this would be useful for you. So this was, I didn't want to make it too long. So 2 essays was enough. I could have given you another one, a very poor example, but in the past I have given you those. So I didn't want to make it exactly the same. Now we're starting on the second writing style for TOEFL IBT. And I mentioned it at the very beginning when I introduced you, but I haven't so far done anything on this. So the second part of your TOEFL IBT assessment is going to involve that they're going to give you a reading article and you have to read it. And they're also going to give you a very short recording that you have to listen. And they will prompt you to write an essay. So this is what I'm asking you. Is this your homework? Start from this page. I mean, obviously on the last slide I will say again, but this is what the style that you will see when you're going to do your writing. And for this reason, I have been giving you reading articles. So you already know, and even today we practice one more time. Having a reading articles and then writing an essay. What I have not done with you is a listening part, which you already do with your listening instructor, but you've never done it with me. So let me just say that for this part, what is expected of you. What you really need to do is, this is where my very short instruction, and then next week I will do more in depth. You really need to read it. As you read, you need to use whatever method that you like, whether you want to do for your planning, brainstorming, whether you take some, write a short summary of what each paragraph is about, or highlighting it. Remember, it's going to be online, it's not on paper. So you have to master that. And you're always going to be given no more than 3 minutes for reading. However, the reading article is going to be on the screen. So that is your bonus. So don't spend too much. Do your 3-minute reading to take out the most important part. This is going to be followed that they're going to give you a very short, it's always about 2 to 3 minute listening. And it is the sound of a lecturer that is going to be expressing his or her view. The good thing is the reading article and the listening are on the same topic. So it is not as if we are going to be talking about preparation for winter in our reading article, and then suddenly the listening is going to be on Nowruz. No, it has to be related. So this is where you're going to have benefit. But what you need to do is, how good you are with your listening, I don't know. Maybe I will ask you at the end if we need to do some listening activity with me too. But I don't want to cross the lines because you're already doing it as part of your listening skills. And it's always the speaker on the listening, on the recording, always disagrees, always challenges the content of the reading article. If they agree, it might be a very small point that they may agree. So this already you know, and I'm telling you. They will try to challenge. For example, if the reading article is about treatment of cancer, okay? If it is about treatment of the cancer and the reading article is just very positive about the only way that you can deal with cancer is it has to be chemotherapy. There is no other way. Patients will die. And they will give you points, evidence. What will happen is, then suddenly when you listen to the lecturer within that 2 to 3 minutes gives you a summary of the reading article, but will give you with enough evidence and point to say why they think that the reading article, why they disagree. They will probably say that there is this chemotherapy is not the only one. You can also do medicine. You can also have operation. You can do natural therapy, etc., etc. Yes? So prepare yourself for this. As a result, then what you need to do is you need to write your essay. So in your writing essay, you need to have a summary of the lecturer and a summary of the reading article. And that should be this is what the whole essay is about. Summarizing, paraphrasing. You can't say word by word what the lecturer says, and you can't say word by word what the reading article is. This is what I've been leading you to this path now. So I'm hoping that you're not going to disappoint me. But if you do, that's okay. That's why I'm here. We are here to learn. Okay? But it needs to be nicely structured. So remember we said an essay needs to have an introduction. You need to say what you're going to be writing. Then you need to put them in points. For example, if for each point of the reading articles, when the lecturer is discussing, so look at it. Point number 1, reading article says this, lecturer says this. Point number 2, reading article says this, lecturer says this. Point number 3, what the article says, what the lecturer says. Then what you go is, you go into your conclusion and you write your conclusion. Lastly, what I want to point it out is for integrated writing, we do not write our own opinion. Nobody cares what I think, what you think. So for TOEFL IBT, this is not where we're going to be writing. We write academic. We have to write it at eye level, but our view doesn't come. When we are writing a review of academic writing, there, yes, you're allowed, but not for integrated. And I hope that this slide is going to be helping you have this one as a guide for you. And the next slides, I've given you my tips. Remember, clear structure, organize your points, paraphrase, don't copy the reading article, don't write down exactly the lecturer's point, paraphrase it. And what I want to see is that when you go from one paragraph to the next paragraph, I want to say that you're not just writing and then leaving it without linking. So use transition words. However, in contrast, on the other hand, and you can have many more. This is where I will ask you towards the end what I can do to help you. That if I can provide some keywords, etc., more than happy. Focus on accuracy. If the information is not there, we don't go and invent detail. We don't fabricate. Use variety of sentences, structures, and vocabulary. This is what we practiced from the beginning up to here. And if I see mistakes, I'll do my best to provide you detailed information. So as I have done my introduction, I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask students to read again. So I want you, and this is part of your homework. So I'm coming back to the page to see who's going to put up their hands. And if you don't, that's okay. I'm happy to read it. But if you can read to make it more interesting, please raise your hand. Nobody? I'm happy to continue if you don't want to. That's okay. Okay, so just not to waste time, I'll go and start reading. No problem. Mr. Farid, do you want to read?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay, go
teacher.
ahead. No worries. Go ahead, please.
Okay, in the name of Allah. The peregrine falcon is an iconic species of bird known for its impressive hunting abilities and aerial acrobatics. These birds are found on every continent except Antarctica, but their populations have declined in some areas due to a variety of factors. Here are 3 ways to increase peregrine falcon populations. First, we can protect nesting sites. Peregrine falcons require a specific type of nesting sites in order to reproduce successfully. These sites are often found on cliffs or tall buildings and can be disrupted or destroyed by human activities such as construction or development. It is possible to work with landowners or developers to protect these sites from distraction or disturbances. By protecting these sites, we can help ensure that peregrine falcons have the space they need to nest and raise their young.
Okay, you can continue, please.
Okay, another method is to control the populations of predators of the falcons. Peregrine falcons are extremely vulnerable to predation, especially when they are young and unable to defend themselves. By controlling the populations of predators that prey on them, such as other birds of prey or mammals, we can help protect the falcons and increase their chances to survival. This could include using lethal methods such as deterrence or repellents to keep predators away. In some cases, it may also be necessary or regulate predators to areas where they are less likely to come into contact with peregrine falcons. Finally, we can rehabilitate injured or sick falcons. Peregrine falcons can become injured or sick due to a variety of reasons, including pollution, disease, or human interference. By rehabilitating these birds and releasing them back into the wild, we can help boost Regran's falcon populations and give them a second chance at life.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So I do have a sound recording. I'm going to play it, and I would like you to let me know whether you can hear it. If not, okay, that's the problem. All right, so it looks like you are not able to get the sound recording, but that's okay. I will, when I share, I'll share the sound recording separately with you. But let's just go to the final slide where I'll summarize it again for you. You must read the article, which we have just at Mr. Farid read it for all of us. You will have a copy of the listening to the lecturer that you will have to listen, and I want you to write down an essay that needs to be between 280 to 300 words. And what I've done is I have also put a little bit of a paragraph in here about if somebody wants to get a perfect mark from me, I have put my requirement. But don't worry about this one. If not, because this is the very first one that you're going to be doing, concentrate on what I mentioned to you. So what you really need to do is you need to read the article, extract the key points, listen, and then plan, write your essay. You don't have to worry about the timing, how long it's going to take you. This is the very first one you're going to be doing. As we progress, you will practice more and more, and I'm positive that you will do well. I should also tell you that the reading article and the sound recording is coming from TOEFL IBT websites. So this is not something that I have come up with. This is an example that a student I've used in the past to do the actual assessment. So this is pure directly coming in. I don't want to say too much because I want to see how you're going to be handling this new topic. What I am going to do is I am going to stop the recording.